Look, man, you read the title right. Semen retention will streamline your path to sagehood. Yes, sir. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up. The practice of semen retention and this whole journey of celibacy will streamline your path to sagehood. Now, you might be wondering, okay, man, what the fuck does that even mean? What the hell is sagehood? How does semen retention get you there? How does celibacy get you there? Well, relax. Relax, my guy, because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. Now, first things first, what the fuck even is sagehood? What is a sage? A sage in these mystic traditions, in the Vedic traditions, in the Gnostic traditions, in all these different types of esoteric schools of thought, is a man who has broken the bonds of his earthly and material attachments that keep him a slave to his senses. This is done in order to actually realize true knowledge of self, aka gnosis, divine wisdom about who you truly are beyond the flesh and bones, beyond just your fucking brain, beyond just the material world. In the Vedic traditions, they call this the Maya, the illusion. In modern times, we can call this the matrix. These are all the different types of programmings, externally and internally, that block you from true realization of what you are and what you were really brought here to do, aka your spiritual duty, your destiny, your dharma. A sage and achieving sagehood is that process of breaking free from all the bullshit that is blocking you from that ultimate point of self-realization. And this is done through none other than the path of self-mastery. You can't realize the self if you have not mastered the self. Self-realization, yes, it's always there. That truth, that knowledge, that gnosis is always there, right here within you. But there is layers of programming, layers of nonsense, layers of conditioning from society, from your upbringing, from the external world, the illusion that clouds your vision from that true source of knowledge that you always have been seeking. No amount of cars, no amount of clothes, no amount of hoes can ever replace that state of spiritual ecstasy that you'll receive when you actually unfold that true version of yourself that has always been there and it will always be there, but it has been, again, clouded by BS. The sun is always there, fucking beaming on me right now. I'm drinking up the sun. It feels nice, that divine nectar. But when it's cloudy, doesn't mean the sun is not there. No, the sun is always there, but guess what? It's clouded. When it's raining, is the sun not there? No, it's clouded. When it's snowing, is the sun not there? No, it's clouded. It's always there and always will be there. But when you're walking through life, that self, that sun, which is symbolic of your true nature, is clouded by all the snow, by all the rain, by all the bullshit, aka the conditioning, the programming of the Maya and the Matrix. Why does semen retention and celibacy streamline you to sagehood, where you actually awaken to it? Why? Because one of the strongest pulls, if not the strongest bond you have as a man that keeps you stuck as a slave to your senses is your sexual urges, is your sexual force. This is why, again, all the occult mysteries, all the esoteric teachings had their initiates understand and understand this whole topic through actually uncovering the allegories, through actually uncovering the symbols, through actually uncovering the metaphors used to essentially hide this forbidden knowledge. This isn't for everybody. And this is why I talked about here on this channel, there's a video maybe a couple weeks ago, how semen retention is not for every man. This is not the practice and path for every man. It's for those who are walking on this path that will eventually lead them to true realization of the self. And you might be wondering, okay, man, doesn't everybody want that? No, not everybody wants that. Some people want to suffer in this cycle of samsara. Some people love pain. Some people love being lied to. Some people love the illusion because they don't know that they're in the illusion. Come on now, man. Some people would rather cling on to the prison that they're stuck in, only due to the fact that they don't realize that they're stuck in a prison. Because they're comfortable, they're used to that prison. And they don't ever take a step back to realize that they are in a prison, a psychological prison, a physical prison, a spiritual prison. Sages, true mystics, true self-realized men know it, and they break free from it. They get the lock, the key that opens up the lock. That key to open up that lock to that prison is mastering the self. And semen retention, celibacy, is one of the biggest parts of that key. If the Maya, the Matrix, the illusion can hold you by the fucking balls by taking advantage of your sexual instincts, of your own biology, of your animalistic, primal states of being, you are simply just a mere cog in their machine. You're not really consciously living life. You are unconsciously being dictated by a higher force, an unseen force that is funneling you towards their agendas, not your own divine duty, not your own divine dharma, not your own purpose while you are incarnated in this specific body, with this specific psyche, in this specific time and day. The universe don't make mistakes. God don't make mistakes. You were brought here for a bigger reason than just to satisfy the senses, than just to overall only think about survival, sex, and status. If that was the case, you would have came here as an animal. An animal, my dog's right there, can only think about survival, sex, and status. That is all of the planes of consciousness that they can access. You too, as a human, have that accessibility. These are your lower chakras. The root chakra, the sacral plexus, and the solar plexus, aka the Muladhara, the Swadhisthana, and the Manipura in the Vedic traditions. And what are these chakras? These are planes of consciousness, planes of existence that make you act and behave in certain ways. If you're stuck in the Muladhara chakra, guess what? How are you gonna act and behave? Survival mode, survival mode, survival mode. You are stuck in that state of your nervous system where you are flight or flight, fight or flight. Survival is all you care about. That's all you can think about. If you're living in poverty, guess what? You are living in your Muladhara. Most people watching this are not stuck in supreme survival. You got some resources at your disposal. That's why you can watch this video. You got an iPhone, you got a laptop, you got Wi-Fi. You ain't fucking getting chased by tigers. So your level of consciousness is, guess what? Stuck at the next level, the Swadhisthana, the sacral plexus. And what is that focused on? Sex, 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 sex. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You are stuck at that level. You can't ascend even further. But let's say you do ascend. Let's say you do get to the solar plexus chakra, the Manipura chakra, that stage of consciousness. What are you thinking about? Status, status, status. Egotistical pursuits, material pursuits. You're only satisfying the body. You're not actually using your brain as a tool it was meant to be. See, mankind is in the middle, in between the animal and the angel, the animal kingdom and the angelic kingdom, the spirit and the animal, and the spirit and the material. Mankind is in the middle. You as a human are in the middle. And the more that you constantly feed into the animal, the more the chains and the bonds of that become stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where it pulls you all the way down to the depths of degeneracy, which this world wants you to operate in. It does not want you to access those higher states of consciousness, because guess what? The closer you get to that, the more you realize that the material is temporary, the material is impermanent. You can't make your whole life based upon that. Survival, sex, and status. All those things will never actually nourish the soul. It will never nourish the soul. I'm not saying survival, sex, and status is bad, but when they dictate your life, when they're the ones dictating your decisions, you're only going to be living life for you and for your pleasure, never for a true higher purpose that goes beyond just, again, survival, sex, and status. So the closer you get to that point of the angelic kingdom, if you want to call it that, the higher chakras, the higher planes, the higher faculties of your being, the more that you're accessing the full scope of your potential. And if you're stuck within the sacral, aka the chakra or plane of consciousness is only focused on sex, you can never allow the energy, aka consciousness, to raise up to that point. This is why in the Vedic tradition they call it kundalini. Kundalini doesn't mean that there's a literal snake in your fucking in your spine going up and down. No, as you've heard the saying before, wherever attention goes, energy flows. Kundalini is a source of energy, cosmic energy, coiled up at the base of your spine, aka your nervous system. And these chakras are connected to certain nerve plexuses and glands. This is backed by science. This isn't just some spiritual woo-woo bullshit, because you already know we out here in the field, in the flesh, on what the flood. We don't talk about none of that new age spiritual nonsense. We get into the esoteric science of self-mastery. That's what we do over here. But continue on, those planes of consciousness connected to those nerve plexuses, wherever that energy goes, wherever that attention goes, if you are only thinking about survival, sex, and status, guess where that energy is going to be trapped? Those lower three chakras. And that's what the world, the mind, the matrix wants you to be stuck in. They want to put a lid over your consciousness. So that's all you think about. Because guess what? When you only think about that, you pump up the economy. You are a cog in the machine. You're not a sovereign entity actually living life for the true unfoldment of the self. You are simply just an animal with a fucking iPhone that gets a little bit of pleasure enough to shut your mouth and keep on working your day-to-day life that you hate. You look for escape routes, whether that be through porn, whether that be through hooking up with girls, whether that be through drugs, alcohol, this and that, so you forget about the fuckery that's going on. But when you practice semen retention on a spiritual aspect, when you practice celibacy on a spiritual aspect, not the shit that you see other content creators talk about semen retention, oh man, female attraction at day 30, that is still surface level bullshit. Over here, we don't talk about that. So if you were looking for something like that, hop on out of here. Hop on out of here, my boy. This ain't for you. But for the true men who are on this path towards self-mastery, you understand what we're talking about. You understand what we're talking about. We are actually accessing the higher levels of consciousness, which is sagehood. That's what a sage is. He is the one who masters himself. And when he masters himself, he masters the game of life. Because as the occult and esoteric wisdom tells us, man is but a microcosm of the macrocosm, aka man is a miniature little version of the universe. You master this universe, you master that universe. As within, so without. As above, so below, motherfucker. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? Come on now. This is something that I really like, this story about an anime, Naruto. If you guys know about Naruto, there is a literal part of the anime itself where Naruto himself, the main character, becomes a sage. He gets initiated into sagehood. He goes and trains in a place called Mount Myoboku, where he is detached from the earthly plane. I'm not saying that you got, in order for you to practice semen retention and celibacy, you got to go to a fucking Mount Myoboku, fucking imaginary island. No. But what I'm saying is that same journey that you take on the mountain towards yourself, towards self-mastery, is the same analogy that was happening in that anime. Detaching from the earthly pulls, the material pulls, when you actually go beyond them, you access sage mode, sagehood. And again, this is something that you have to fully go on your own path to understand and understand, better yet, what I'm saying. I can't tell you through all the stuff that we talk about here on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community. Man, shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Listen, are you listening? If you have not joined up into the private Patreon community yet, and you're someone who is interested in these types of deeper topics, deeper subjects on how you can master the mind, master the body in order to awaken your soul, and you have not joined up into the private Patreon community yet, you are doing yourself a huge motherfucking disfavor, man. That is fraudulent fucking behavior, bro. Matter of fact, go to the mirror, look at yourself, because that's the guy that you are acting as a fraud to. That is the guy that you are literally doing a huge disfavor to. Not me, that guy that you see in the mirror. Because within there, we are unpacking the depths of this esoteric science of self-mastery, getting exclusive videos where we're unpacking ancient texts, ancient practices, different tips and techniques to help you, again, unlock the mind, purify the body in order to awaken the soul. Along with that, there also are full in-depth occult lectures, full guides, all that good stuff. And most importantly, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier group within the private Patreon community, you get access to our private group chat where we host our bi-weekly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, 2 live calls each and every single month, bi-weekly. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Come on, man. We hop on a call with me, as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on the same journey as you, who are also that invested, who are also that devoted to this path to sagehood as you. There's no reason why you'd be watching a video with no cuts, no edits for this long out here in the field, in the flesh, if you are not somebody that is internally pulled to this path that many aren't, that the masses aren't, that the matrix is not. You were brought here for a bigger reason, a bigger purpose. Every one of us are, but you are in this incarnation to finally awaken to it. And if you want to be around more men who are on that same journey, get around more content that's going to help support you on that path, then the Philosopher's Circle is the place for you, my boy. If you want some more information, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video. Because within there, not only do you have the link to the Patreon community, but also the other services that I provide, whether that be one-on-one consultation calls, application forms for my personalized coaching program. If you're specifically trying to work with me one-on-one to help you discover that Dharma by first deconstructing the psyche and actually detoxing from all the degeneracy that, again, is those blockages from that answer that has always been residing within you. If you want my support, my personalized guidance along that journey, shoot an application form, man. We'll see if you're actually about it, you know what I mean? But along with that, there's free community Discord server, weekly newsletters, all that good stuff posted in the pinned comment of this video, man. Make sure you go run it up. But like I was saying, for the people that are watching this channel, the main channel, on the private Patreon community, who might be working with me one-on-one, this is something that you guys still, I can't just speak about it just off of videos and all that stuff, and then you'll just get streamlined to sagehood. This is an inner purification process. This is an inner journey that only you can go on. Yes, you can get the advice. Yes, you can get the knowledge. Yes, you can get the overall instructions, but you're never gonna get the gnosis. I can give you gnosis. Only you can access it yourself, aka that wisdom, that knowledge that can only be accessed from within through this path of self-mastery, through this overall ascent to your highest level. Instead of living in your lower chakras, instead of living within your lower planes of consciousness, you ascend, you transcend through these different types of practices that we talk about, with semen retention and celibacy being one of the most important, if not the most important, because that source of prana, aka energy, your sexual energy, kundalini energy, is the most potent form of it. That's why pornography is free. That's why they're pushing hookup culture on you, because they know if they drain this prana from you, you a fucking bot. You a drained, depleted buffoon, a drone that can can be essentially programmed to do this and do that. You are not consciously there, because this source of prana not only feeds your mind, it also feeds your body, but most importantly connects you to your soul. This is why some of the occultists say the soul is sex, but sex is not the soul. The soul is sex, but sex is not the soul. Let that marinate in your mind. Sexual energy is the soul. The soul is sexual energy. The only reason you're here is from sexual energy. Think about that. The only reason this soul is incarnating into this body is through sexual energy. So why would you deplete that on nonsensical pursuits? If you're not creating another child and you're releasing your seed, you're essentially killing off that connection to the soul, to the spirit. Even when you have a kid, what are you doing? You're sacrificing a part of your soul in order to make another. That has a real reason, a real purpose. This is why it's called sacred energy exchange, SEX, sex. A sage realizes that, because a sage doesn't just renounce all these attachments for no motherfucking reason. They don't just torture themselves. A lot of people, when they think about semen retention, celibacy, they make it view that as torture for themselves. They're like, oh man, you're giving up this pleasure? Don't you have the fear of missing out? No, a sage has tasted divine nectar, and they would rather sacrifice the lower level pleasures in order to envelop themselves in that state of spiritual ecstasy. You see what I'm saying? A lot of you guys that probably watch this channel have had psychedelic experiences, transcendental experiences, through meditation, through psychedelics, through whatever it is. You've tasted divine nectar, and you realize that that shit tastes a whole lot motherfucking better than anything that this material world can offer. I'm not saying the material world is bad, but you can use the material vessel, aka the body, in order to actually tap into that spiritual ecstasy that can be found within you. It doesn't have to be through psychedelics. And that is sagehood. That is self-mastery. That is what this whole path is all about. Tapping into spiritual ecstasy that is already residing within you. But in order for you to do that, you need to uncover and unravel the nonsense that is blocking you from that. Sexual addiction, drug addiction, all these different types of things are attachments that bond you to your lower states of existence. Your lower states of existence cannot taste that divine nectar. It cannot. It doesn't mean that you renounce your body. It doesn't mean that you have to completely forget about the physical world, but you have to use the physical vessel as a tool rather than it mastering you, rather than it using you as a fool. Come on now, man. Use it as a tool, or it's going to abuse you like a fool. Your body, your senses should not be the master. The spirit, the soul should be the one that is in charge, that is dictating the shots, your higher states of consciousness, because the instincts of the animal will always gravitate towards those lower level desires. Survival, sex, and status. That's what it's meant to do. Yet again, mankind has the intellect, aka the mediator. The mind is in between instinct and intuition. It chooses which one it would rather like to follow. And when you practice semen retention celibacy, that voice of intuition grows stronger and stronger and stronger. This is the universal downloads from the spirit, from the soul, that is being beamed into your psyche. And you consciously make the choice through intellectual reasoning, through self-inquiry, to be able to make the body act in that way. But when it's flipped the other way around, where you have the intuition cut off, the psychic beams originating from the spirit cut off, all you register is the impulses from your instincts. So instinct goes right into intellect. There is no cognitive reasoning behind it. You just follow it. It's compulsive. The sage breaks that. Sagehood is going beyond that. And semen retention celibacy is a tool to get you to that point. It isn't the end all be all. It is not the end all be all. Just by practicing semen retention and celibacy won't get you to that point. Matter of fact, if you just think that you can practice semen retention and celibacy without the other practices, of course, that we talk about here on the main channel, on the private Patreon community especially, and especially with the people that are in my program one-on-one, if you're not adding in those exercises, those tips, and those techniques, don't even expect to actually see the full scope of what celibacy and semen retention can possibly offer you. Because you're never going to be able to get the momentum that helps you break free from those barriers, from those plateaus, that again keeps that lid over your consciousness to only the lower level chakras, only the lower states of consciousness, only the lower planes of existence. Semen retention gives you the fuel to get rise past them, but you still need to put that fuel into the actual techniques and tips that will actually finally shatter that through, shatter that plateau, shatter that barrier that is blocking you from that divine nectar. You dig what I'm saying? You dig what I'm saying? So again, man, you need the fuel, but you also need to put it into those outlets that come together all as one. Yet you cannot have those outlets if you don't have the fuel. You see what I'm saying? This is why semen retention and celibacy is such an important factor in all these different types of spiritual cultures and traditions. They taught their initiates that how important their sexual force was, the generative principle was in Freemasonry. The prana, the pranic force in the Vedic traditions. The yogis. They taught how important it was, and in the modern day, they want you to forget that. Why do you think this type of content ain't gonna be fucking going viral and all that stuff? But guess what you see on TikTok? Guess what you see on YouTube Shorts? Ass shaking, tits shaking, all that stuff. So they put you in a hypnotic state as an animal. They put that little piece of carrot in front of you, and you just think that you're gonna get it. You think that you're gonna get it. You're on the hamster wheel of desires, never actually satisfied. There's a good quote from Paramahansa Yogananda. Always fed, never satisfied. If you always feed the senses, it'll never be satisfied. But never fed, you never feed them, you'll always be satisfied. The soul will always be satisfied. Let that sink in your mind. Let that marinate in your motherfucking mind. This is what sagehood is all about. This is what semen retention and celibacy is all about. Not just quitting porn addictions, not just stop chasing women, not just saying, oh man, look at how many female attraction days that I got under my belt. This is what it's about. Funneling your creative force, your pranic force to the higher faculties in order to awaken to your true, full scope of self. This is what sagehood is about. And this is the path that all you men who are especially watching this channel, look, I always say this, the people that are watching this channel, what the fulani out here in the field, in the flesh, no cuts, no edits, just spitting game straight up off of the dome, you dig what I'm saying? You guys are more spiritually and psychologically advanced than the masses. Am I saying that you're better than anybody? No, sir. This is, again, not no new age spirituality bullshit. We already talked about that on a previous video here, talking about how new age spirituality will actually stunt your soul's development. And again, we broke that down even more in detail in the private Patreon community, a damn near hour-long lecture talking about how nonsensical it is. So if you want to check that out, make sure you go run it up. But again, you're not better than anybody, but maybe through past lives, maybe through your karmic debts that you've paid off, you have been given this specific incarnation where you can grasp and understand these concepts that most people will allow to fly right over their head. Most people can't watch a video for this long without any cuts, any edits. Most people will never understand what the fuck we're talking about, but you do, and you cannot waste this incarnation and waste these God-given gifts on still being gullible to the matrix and the Maya, the illusion that will keep you stuck in your lower states of existence. Don't spiritually masturbate. You've probably heard about mental masturbation where you get all this information like, man, that's great, that's motivational, I'm gonna do it, and you absolutely do nothing with your life. Do not spiritually masturbate to this type of content. Take this and apply it into your life. And I know this is not an easy path. I know this is not an easy direction to take, because everything else around you is pulling you away from streamlining your path to sagehood. But you need to make that conscious choice. What is actually gonna nourish you, your true self, beyond the flesh and bones? Is it pornography? Is it chasing women? Is it sex, survival, and status? No. It's the dharma. It's the duty. It was what you were brought here to do beyond all that shit. All this stuff to have survival, sex, and status are all, again, there to support a much bigger purpose, your dharma. But if that's your only purpose, survival, sex, and status, that's when you make pleasure your God. You're not actually devoting your dharma to God. Because at the end of the day, what we're really trying to do here on the self-mastery path is become a divine vessel for God. Again, unlock the mind, purify the body in order to awaken the soul, so the divine energy that's already within you and already outside of you can flow through you and direct your decisions. The inner guide finally turns on. Your inner GPS system, back to godhood, back to sagehood, turns on through these different types of practices. Again, the stuff that I talk about on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, I'm not here to tell you what your dharma is, what your path is. I'm here to give you the tools, tips, techniques, the understanding, the understanding to apply this all together and further unravel the bullshit that is blocking you from that inner GPS system. I'm here to help turn it on. Once it's turned on, you're on your way. Nobody else can tell you what to do in life because you're being guided by God. You are now a divine vessel for the universe. You are a conduit of divine energy. That's what you're brought here to do. Not just be relegated to the animal kingdom as a human, but rather ascended to the angelic kingdom. Be a ray of light that you're always meant to be. It's not an easy path. And especially with the whole process of self-mastery, celibacy, and semen retention, that's not an easy path. So if you're struggling with that, man, if you have not got the Art of Retention ebook yet, a free ebook that your boy wrote himself, you're doing yourself a disfavor, man. Free, for free. Just go on YouTube right now, type in how to succeed on semen retention. There's a full guide going in depth and in detail to all the things that you need. And within that video, you get access to the Art of Retention ebook, which even goes more in depth and more in detail than the video. And look, if you're dyslexic, you're retarded, you got ADHD, you can't fucking read, your boy's got you covered with a full audio series of the Art of Retention ebook on the main channel, Fulati Fitness. Just look that up, go on playlist, audio series right there for you. So you can pop it in while you're walking, you can pop it in while you're driving, you can pop it in while you're doing whatever, and get up on some motherfucking game so you ain't out here looking like a motherfucking lame. You dig what I'm saying? Come on now, man. We're on the path to sagehood and you out here still being a slave to your senses. Wake up. Wake up, motherfucker. You're brought here for a bigger reason, a bigger purpose, and a bigger dharma than just being a slave to the body, just being a prisoner to your own body. This is a tool for you. Don't let it abuse you and make you a fool just by the programming of the Maya, the matrix, and the illusion. I always say this, the body is the vehicle, the mind is the steering wheel, and the soul, the spirit, is the one who's supposed to be driving. But in today's day and age, it's not you driving, it's not the soul driving, it's not your higher consciousness driving. It is the programming of the Maya, the matrix, the illusion. So it's taking your body, it's taking your mind where it doesn't even want to go. That's not the end destination you want to go. The end destination you want to go is towards your dharma, back to godhood. And you ain't going to find that. You're not going to ever make that happen when somebody else driving your own car. Wake up, deconstruct that bullshit, detox from the degeneracy, and get back on your divine path, your dharma, that will lead you to true self-realization on this path of self-mastery. Again, man, all this stuff is right there for you. All this stuff is right there for you. There's a full guide. There's a free ebook. And look, if you need even more help, more guidance, hop into the Philosopher's Circle, man. Tap in with the next mastermind we got. Ask us these questions. Be surrounded around a community of people on the same path as you, so you don't feel like an outcast, so you don't feel like you're going crazy, so you don't feel like you got psychosis. Because trust me, sagehood will make you think that you have psychosis, but most people, when you look at them, the master, the matrix, the Maya, the illusions, the ones who are NPCs, they're the ones that are truly suffering from psychosis, not you. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind and stay online, stay on track, stay with the actual path that God has laid out for you. This is not something that's a game, this is not something that's a joke. Tap into the Philosopher's Circle if you need to. Apply for the coaching program if you need to. Tap in with a one-on-one consultation if you need to. But again, all the resources and tools are right there for you. Don't act like a fool and don't get left behind, because your soul truly wants to transcend and tap back in with the sublime. Goddamn, we're gonna end it off with that, man. That's a bar. It's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains. I'm out of here. Peace.